Good morning to everyone here. I'm really happy to welcome you all for this endowment lecture in the name of our teacher, Mrs. Abraham. Here I'm wholeheartedly happy that we were together, the student of Mrs. Abraham from the first batch of PG History, Lady Doak College. We have Muniammal with us. And the second batch, that's myself, 88 batch. The next batch, Dr. Parvathy Menon and Dr. Lekha Isaac here. And we are all in the same teaching profession. So in that moment that I am really so happy. Here I would like to welcome our principal ma'am. In spite of her busy schedule, she is kind enough to be with us to encourage the department to reach the greater heights. Then our principal ma'am, Dr. Beulah Jayashree, thank you so much for being with us. Then I welcome our chaplain. She is the guiding force in prayer to lead everyone towards the heavenly blessing. I am so thankful and to welcome mother of Dr. Parvathy Menon for being with us to visit her institution where she has studied her PG. So thank you so much, and it's a good chance for us to meet each other. I welcome the other alumni. I'm glad to welcome Sheila from our office. She is a student of Mrs. Abraham, being a part of the department activities, and I welcome the department members. Now I would like to introduce that Parvathy Menon. Her career and her CV goes pages after page. One thing that we admire with her is whatever history that she is studying, she will present it with music and dance. I would like to think that why she is not in a fine arts department. She is such an person. She will entertain everybody with her subject and encourage everyone. Wherever she is as a student, I know she will make everybody to laugh in spite of receiving all kinds of pressure in studies. That's her habit as a student. And already she was a member of our college board of studies and also visited seminars and international conferences. Her CV, it goes one after the other. When she was a student in 92, she was a person recipient of Talebar Memorial Prize and also the best outgoing student. Is a good thing as an inspiration to our students. And she is working as the professor in the All Saints College, Thiruvananthapuram, where she has served as a Dean of Student Affairs, Faculty Secretary, Advisor of Arts Club, and so many other music clubs. Her music club is named as Harmony. We too have harmony, not as a music club, as togetherness among the college community. It's so interesting, and her area of interest is etymology, gender studies, human rights, constitutional history, and musicality of history. See the dimension in which is so interesting, and she's an outstanding scholar and an educator award she has received, and also the Distinguished Women Educator and Scholar Award for her contribution in the field of history. She is a keen music enthusiast, having studied in Carnatic music for over 15 years. And when she was here, we used to wonder, just singing song in Carnatic, Parvathy can survive everywhere. All her friends used to say, Parvathy, please start a song. Then the whole class will be happy. Even her friends, they messaged me, Parvathy is the right person for you this time. So she is so much interested in that, and she is a member of the music club like Madhurima, Ragatarangam, and Swararanga Ganga. And she has her own YouTube channel called Saranga. Some of you would have seen that. I think I have shared in the alumni group also. And she has also shared a stage with the playback singers like Srinivas, Vijay Yesudas and Siram. She's a trained Bharatanatyam, and she has performed so many group performances also. So we have a wonderful and interesting person with us, our alumni, and so proud to be called Doakian. And what is going on in Lady Doak is her keen interest. Whenever she texts me, and she will send me from the website, when shall I meet, where shall I meet, how to contact. So her eye is always with Lady Doak, even though she is in Trivandrum. Now she says, I want to stay back one more day and visit places with my mother. I would like to enjoy and think of my reminiscence here. That's the person, Parvathy Menon. And we are so happy to have you with us, Parvathy. Thank you. I welcome you, one and all. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Dear Dr. Jessie Ranjita Episelfi ma'am, Dr. Christiana Singh, Principal of Lady Doak College, Dr. Mercy Pake, my good friend and Head of the Department of History, Munyamal ma'am, Durga Devi ma'am, members of the faculty, non-teaching staff, and my dear children. You are in for a lecture, but before that, this is a moment of pride for me for having been invited to deliver the Mrs. Abraham Memorial lecture, Endowment lecture, which is being conducted by the PG Research Department of History. My memories take me back to the year 1990 when I stepped into Lady Doak College seeking admission for PG. In fact, I had completed my BA from Nirmala College, Coimbatore, and wanted to do PG at Madurai Kamaraj University. I had no intention of studying here. But then unfortunately, my final year results were not published. So I was unable to sit for the entrance exam at Madurai Kamaraj, and that turned fortunate for me because I was able to study in this great institution which is my second home. I keep coming here whenever there's a chance. So I remember coming here in 1990. I met Miss Manuel, Shanti Manuel. Ma'am was the principal then, and then ma'am was very apprehensive. We don't know how you're going to fare in your final semester or the final annual exam. So how are we going to take you? Anyway, I'll direct you to Mrs. Abraham, who's the head of the department. And then my heart started beating, tick-tock, tick-tock, who is this Mrs. Abraham? So then I knew she was a Malayali, but then I went to the department, and then Mrs. Abraham has to take the decision whether I should be given a seat here or not. So I see Mrs. Abraham coming, and as ma'am mentioned, the holy terror feeling in me, it triggered. When ma'am came, ma'am was very serious. She said, yes, Parvathy Menon, we can give you an admission, but you have to promise that you will prove your worth. So suppose you fail for the exam, what can we do? So I said, no ma'am, I have confidence, I will get good marks, and I will be a good student, I will study well, etc. And finally, I was admitted here, and I remember with gratitude Mrs. Abraham. Everything has been said by all the esteemed the teachers who spoke. She was so industrious. She was a role model for all of us. Then she taught us about women empowerment. We had a paper then, women empowerment of women then, and even now it continues. The paper is still a part of our syllabus in the University of Kerala, and I teach that paper to my students. So that is 34 years. So I remember with gratitude Mrs. Anna Abraham, also the teachers who taught me, Mrs. Brinda Newman, Mrs. Jayamati Grace Frank, Mrs. Vijayalakshmi, and also I pay my homage to Mrs. A. Vijayalakshmi, who was my project guide. She passed away recently. So the 2 years I studied here changed my life, and I can very well say that these 2 years were the best years of my student life. Only 2 years, but those were the best years. And I had very good friends like Lekha, she has come here. And Mrs. Abraham saw to it that all of us, cherished or we nurtured our talents also. She used to keep on saying, "Ni aada poriya, pada poriya," for programs. And I remember coordinating a program under her guidance. During those days, it was supposed to be a wonderful program. It was a national integration program. I don't know whether Lekha remembers that. Students came dressed in different states' attires. And then at the backdrop, me and I don't remember, we sang the patriotic song of that particular state. And then in Tamil, I think it was Thayin Manikudipaya. And then finally, everybody came together, we had a formation and sang Sare Jaan Se Acha together. The spirit of national integration was. And Mrs. Abraham used to encourage all of us for participating in programs, seminars, conferences, etc. And I remember being a member of the quiz club, quiz team here. So with these words, I pay homage to Mrs. Abraham. And then she has never spoken a word of Malayalam to me all these 2 years. Very strict. But then, as they all said, a role model, and all of you really miss such a great woman, Mrs. Abraham, in your lives now. So, I would like to pay tribute to Mrs. Abraham with this topic, which is something new, and I'm trying to experiment on this topic recently. It is the importance of music in curriculum. Music has always been a very important social and cultural factor throughout human history. In prehistoric times, early men and women, they used to imitate the sounds of nature. So there was no music then, but then significant evidence is there to show that early man developed flutes, primitive flutes with the wooden bones, and had also used wood and stone as percussion. So that was 35 years ago. And then maybe initially it was the voice which was used by our ancestors to bond socially. Voice was used. And later this voice, maybe when it was used in a very soft pace, it was used to comfort a child. So from these humble beginnings, music has evolved to what it is now. And later, all of you know that writing, how it has changed. So with the development of the writing system, it is possible to compose music as we see now. In ancient India, we find that the history of music can be traced back to the Vedic period. There was a concept of Nada Brahma, and the origins of music can be traced back to the Sama Veda, one of the Vedas. And this was the first organized music. And initially there was only devotional music, and music was restricted to religious purposes in temples, etc. And the earliest raga was also the Samagana. The first music was the Samagana, wherein the verses in the Samaveda were recited in a musical manner. Okay. And we also find that Bharata's Natya Shastra. Natya Shastra is a book which deals with dance, Bharatanatyam, etc. Here again we find chapters on music, which proves that there is no dance or any performing art without music. So music is essential for all the performing arts. And when we come to the medieval India, we find that more of Muslim influence came in. So here Indian music started branching out into Hindustani and Carnatic, and both of them started absorbing tunes, and they started absorbing folk tunes from the nearby areas. Regional characteristics were developed, and also ragas came into existence. And in the modern period, what has happened? With the coming of the British rule, the influence of Western music started creeping in. Why was it so? Because the Mughal rulers, the Mughal empire started declining, so there was no encouragement given to the court arts. So there was a spread of Western music, and pop music is nothing but popular music, and that increased with the spread of cinema. And then you find fusion music, that is the combination of Western and Eastern music, and in the 70s and 80s we find disco and other forms of music came. Then came the spread of information technology, and here in this increasingly global world we find a host of musical forms like jazz, hip hop, rock music, all these developed. So what about the Indian music, which was already there? The Indian music also was developing. For example, there were different kinds of music like Qawwali developing, ghazal, geet, etc. And also the religious music, church songs, bhajans, they all started coming in. So during all these developments, folk music of course had its own existence. Even now we know that folk music is very popular. People like Pushpavanam Kuppuswamy, I think, he has popularized folk music a lot in Tamil Nadu. So now coming to my topic, music, history and pedagogy. Reflections on history teaching in the 21st century. So music is a power that directly reaches the soul of the individual, isn't it? It is a message that goes from heart to heart. How? From the heart of the composer to the heart of the listener. And this power is very strong, and it influences not only individuals, it influences societies, it influences governments, etc. And this music can be used to educate, teach, it can used to teach values that benefit the development of an individual. What development? The spiritual, moral and intellectual development of an individual. So if we combine education with music, the teaching goes directly into the heart of the student, and it can produce good results. Music has a power to move the body, move the spirit and soul of the person, impacting his or her life. It is a universal language, as you all know, and it can be used as a tool for promoting global change. Now, music can place a human being in harmony with not only himself, with his family, with the community, with the nation and the entire universe. So for this, musical curriculum should be introduced for the harmony of human being. So I will not say that music alone is a cry for world peace. No. But in order for nations to live in peace, there must be harmony. That is, what is harmony? A sharing between the people, isn't it? Now, when is peace affected? When conflicts come. So how do conflicts originate? Conflicts originate not between two individuals, not between two countries, not between two families, but it originates within the individual. So for this reason, the cornerstone in the creation of world peace is achieving inner peace. What is that inner peace? Peace within oneself. So if we include music as a teaching tool, as a method of teaching within the educational system at a global level, we can make music as an instrument to teach moral, spiritual and ethical values to the students. So this musical educational method finally will result in peace and happiness of the human being. So it is essential that music can help one understand oneself to overcome one's own inner conflicts and thus maintaining peace. So I would like to give an example, like, see, songs and lyrics, they are actually primary sources because they help students to make sense of the time, the place, the events and culture. Songs have been used from time immemorial for protesting, for promoting social justice. For example, during the American Revolution, during the South African apartheid problem, for promotion of women's rights, and also the civil rights movements in the US. Martin Luther King, who was a leader of the civil rights movement in 1950s and 60s, he inspired the African Americans to fight against racism through songs like "We shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday." The same song was translated into different languages and is still inspiring. होंगे कामयाब, होंगे कामयाब, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन। ओह, मन में है विश्वास, पूरा है विश्वास, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन। होंगे कामयाब, होंगे कामयाब, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन। ओ, मन में है विश्वास, पूरा है विश्वास, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन. I leave Tamil. வெற்றி பெறுவோம், வெற்றி பெறுவோம், வெற்றி பெறுவோம் ஓர் நாள். ஓ, நம்பிக்கையுடன் நல்லுணர்வுடன் வெற்றி பெறுவோர் நாள். வெற்றி பெறுவோம், வெற்றி பெறுவோம், வெற்றி பெறுவோம் ஓ நாள். ஓ, நம்பிக்கையுடன் நல்லுணர்வுடன் வெற்றி பெறுவோம் ஓர் நாள். So, yes, so when you listen to this song, you get inspired more than giving lectures, isn't it? So in the area of philosophy of music education, it is very clear that music can favor the rise of nationalistic feelings, because patriotic songs can lead to greater understanding and acceptance of other countries' culture. So when I teach the history of the freedom struggle in India, I cannot avoid teaching the role played by patriotic literature in inspiring the Indians during the early 20th century. So we need to tell them about Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's Anand Math novel, where the song Vande Mataram was featured. So this song makes the students, they get transported to that era and understand the patriotism that had developed in the minds of the people then. Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam, Subhalam, Malayaj Sheetalam, Sasya Shamalam, Mataram, Vande Mataram, Shubhra Jyotsna Pulakita Yamini, Pulla Kusumita Trumadala Shobhini, Suhasini Sumadhura Bhashini, Sughadam Baradam Mataram. Aren't you transported to that era when people, they were, looking for ways to spread the message of patriotism among the minds of the people then. So naturally, I'm sure all of you are transported to that era where, the glory of Mother Earth was being transmitted to the people then to arouse their patriotism. Now, how can music be introduced? How can it be included in the classroom? First of all, no musical expertise or technical knowledge is needed for music to be included in the classroom. Even teachers with no musical language knowledge or even musical interest can make effective use of music in the classroom. And we all know that music has the ability to move, enlighten, and if used properly, music can fit into any well-rounded lesson plan. So music is a historical artifact also. So the musical styles of different periods, they go hand in hand with the literature, the art, politics, architecture, and overall culture of a time, which makes music very helpful as part of a history lesson. So when professors teach about Mughal India or the Renaissance period in Italy, mostly we show them pictures of the Taj or then Michelangelo's sculptures, etc. But pictures are two-dimensional. So when a music is played, when an Indian raga of the Mughal period and Tansen's Megha Malhar is played, it's supposed to bring rain, isn't it? Megha Malhar. And Rag Deepak is supposed to heat up the atmosphere and then, fire would come, etc. So students began to think about past cultures when they listen to such kinds of music, and with an unexpected excitement it comes. So musical skills, as I told you, are not required to use music in class, but we need to use the same reflective and critical skills that we use when we read a book. So as history teachers, we often use documents to introduce our students to the values, ideals, practices, and conflicts that structure a historical culture and social relations. So finally, music is a primary cultural source that can provide teachers ways to engage students with historical issues, and they can make their students get practical skills of analysis and to promote cross-cultural understanding. Now, musical selections should be treated like any other historical document. They should be regarded as creations of a specific place and time, and which we can use to illustrate points about gender, cultural values, politics, etc. So what makes music a wonderful primary source for students is that it can investigate its accessibility. So in the sense, if the teacher provides historical context and questions, and if the music is accessible, nowadays music is accessible, isn't it? We have platforms like YouTube, etc., from where we can take music directly. So it can be used as a wonderful primary scope. So when we play music, or when a composition is sung or a musical instrument is played in the class, it grabs the attention of the students. It is expressive and it arouses an emotional state of awareness. So this music has been used by many cultures from time immemorial to accompany many activities like worship. So worship through music, then mourning through music, storytelling, etc. So because because music engages students' minds and emotion, it is a very powerful instructional tool, and it helps students remember information and theories. So playing music can make the students get interest, spark students' interest, and it can introduce a new culture in a very memorable way. So history teachers can use music for a variety of purposes. They can use music in order to refresh material for students before a new unit. So when a new unit is introduced, when music is played, the ideas stick onto the minds of the students. And one more thing, music provides interesting breaks also. So when I'm just monotonously, lecturing to you, when I'm singing a couple of songs, need not be singing alone, it can be playing music. So it provides interesting breaks also in between. So using this music in the classroom enhances students' understanding of history, and past cultures become alive, and teaching becomes more enjoyable. Students are introduced to cultures they were indifferent and then though they were unaware of before. So what is needed when music is played is a time is to be given to review the songs, to play them in class, to discuss the music and relate it to the theme of the course. One thing is to be noted, musical excerpts which are played in the class should not be very long. It should be maximum of 3 to 4 minutes. Because the reason is that if the excerpts are short, it can be repeated, and also there is time for discussion, and then it focuses the emotions of the students. And also I would like to mention here that there are many kinds of music. You know that religious music is there, military music is there, then devotional music, folk music. So folk music, as I mentioned earlier, is a music of social protest. Folk music is normally it is the music of the depressed classes. The depressed classes have always produced music in order to show their feelings and emotions, their problems, their sufferings. For example, there's a song like this. ആദിയില്ലല്ലോ അന്തമില്ലല്ലോ ലക്കാലം പോയുഗത്തിൽ, ആദിയില്ലല്ലോ അന്തമില്ലല്ലോ ലക്കാലം പോലായുധത്തിൽ, ഇരുളുമില്ലല്ലോ വെളിവുമില്ലല്ലോ ലക്കാലം പോയുഗത്തിൽ, ഇരുളുമില്ലല്ലോ വെളിവുമില്ലല്ലോ ലക്കാലം പോ ആയുഗത്തിൽ, തെയ്യരയം തെയ്യരയം തെയ്യര തെയ്യര തെയ്യരയം തന്നാനേ താന തന തന്നാനം താന തന്നാനേ താന ദിന തന്ദനം താന തന്നാനേ താന ദഗ തന്ദനം താന തന്ദാനേ താന ദഗ തന്ദനം താന. So this folk music is always rhythmic because the classes, the depressed classes, oppressed classes, they use music, rhythmic music, to let out their feelings. And music is a language that reflects the culture of the society, and it is an effective tool in both verbal as well as non-verbal cultural values. It is a vital element in people's lives, and as I am telling you right now, it is a very effective educational tool. Music can also speak about certain aspects in history. For example, when you talk about the reform of Islam or Hinduism, like the Sufism or Bhakti movement, which was mainly a movement devoted to God in order to improve the evils that had crept into Islam and Hinduism. So we find that through music, the reformers spread their ideas. I'm sure Mirabai, you've heard of Mirabai, yeah. Should I use a little bit of Tamil also in my lecture? Yeah, then I think it'll be more effective. I can refresh my Tamil fluency also. I've not been using Tamil language for so many years. But Mirabai she has composed Meera Bhajans. இப்போ கூட ரொம்ப பாப்புலரா இருக்காங்க. லைக் நீங்க கேட்டிருப்பீங்க, श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालु भजमन हरण भाव भयदारुणम् नवकञ्जलोचन कञ्जमुखकर कञ्ज पाद कञ्जारुणम् श्रीराम श्रीराम. Kabir was there, Kabir Das. He wrote dohas, he composed them, he sang the dohas. So music, actually it can speak about different cultures. Now what is the impact of music in a student's life? Let us see that. Music it develops the student's character in a positive way. At the same time, it ensures his development as an individual who's accepted in the community and who communicates in a healthy way with his or her environment. And music education introduces values like patience, tolerance, discipline and sharing among students. Through musical curriculum, students learn to listen and gain abilities and understand what they hear. They learn to express themselves. அவங்க நெகட்டிவ் எமோஷன்ஸ் இந்த பயம் வெக்கம் அதெல்லாம் வந்து மாறி அது வந்து பாசிட்டிவ் எமோஷன்ஸாக மாற்ற மியூசிக் பிளேஸ் அ வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ரோல். நிரந்தரமான மியூசிக் ஆக்டிவிட்டீஸ் கூட they learn to effectively use time and structure their lives, and also they find good role models by establishing communication with their peers, and they learn to be at ease in a group, and they try to and they can learn to try without the fear of making mistakes. And they also understand cooperation and learn to take responsibilities. And in the music club எல்லாம் இருக்கும் இல்லையா, அப்போ வந்து எல்லாருமே கோஆப்ரேட் பண்ணிட்டு there will be some people will be playing musical instruments. So அது வந்து ஒரு discipline. Playing musical instrument is a discipline in its own. அப்போ வந்து and இந்த மாதிரி so they understand the importance of love, respect, mutual support, tolerance. In institutions, music education is taught to transmit values. For example, songs, they, like what I been telling you, they can instill the love for music, develop musical abilities, and at the same time they can teach societal rules, the values in society through songs, like Parvathy and all. I'm coming to that. The national values. And also music can contribute to personal development. It ensures communication among individuals and also helps to develop language abilities. So musical education that is conducted with songs, including all these values of sharing, tolerance, etc., helps children gain these values. Chumma lecture pandradha vida, when students are taught these values, it increases their awareness and awareness levels of the values. And children's songs, for example, Subramania Bharati, the great poet, he was not only a poet, he was a great social reformer, he was a freedom fighter, and he has given simple songs. ஓடி விளையாடு பாப்பா நீ ஓய்ந்திருக்கலாகாது பாப்பா, கூடி விளையாடு பாப்பா, கூடி விளையாடு பாப்பா, ஒரு குழந்தையை வையாது பாப்பா, காலை எழுந்தவுடன் படிப்பு. Multiplication, ஓர் 2 2 4 4 2 8. Okay, it goes like that. பின்பு கனிவு கொடுக்கும் நல்ல பாட்டு, சரிகம பதனி சரி நிரப மகமரி, காலை எழுந்தவுடன் படிப்பு. So making the students understand the importance of maths and cooperation, etc. Also, not to forget, தாயின் மணிக்கொடி பாரீர், அதை தாழ்ந்து பணிந்து புகழ்ந்திடவாரீர், தாயின் மணிக்கொடி பாரீர். Okay, so musical activities, when it is combined with character development, like all these value education, students are better equipped to address problems in their daily lives. And especially these joint musical activities like the choral singing, then playing instruments and orchestra, students learn to honor the feelings of others also when they are in the group, and they take into account and they respect the differences, and they show tolerance to one another. Then teachers can be given practical music education if they are interested, and they can be shown how music can be used as a tool and method in the higher education scenario. So music can make a powerful contribution to the development of students, and that can range from academic growth to the growth of social skills and overall development. Music வந்து நம்ம மியூசிக் கேட்கும்போது நம்ம thinking power மாறு இல்லையா, when we listen to soft music, A.R. Rahman music, how many of you like? Yeah, so it changes the way you feel, you think, you act. ரொம்ப soft music கேட்டுட்டு you can do so many activities இல்ல. So this involvement in music engages students, it increases their self-esteem and education, it leads to progress in education. You won't believe, research has shown a direct link between music and improved reading ability. So the greatest improvement was seen when teaching was tailored to pupils' existing abilities. So if the reading and language skills are of very high standard, advanced music education may be needed. So the reading ability can make, music education can have a significant effect on the reading ability of students who have been experiencing difficulties. இப்போ கொஞ்சம் ப்ராப்ளம் படிக்கிறதுக்கு ப்ராப்ளம் ஆகிற ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸுக்கு வந்து மியூசிக் கூட they can improve their teaching, improve their reading ability, etc. Also, music instruction enables students to remember words. அவங்க vocabulary increase பண்றது. இப்போ பாரதியார் சாங்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து so simple language. So in simple language they are able to understand words. Also, maths, music, there's a direct link. உங்களுக்கு தெரியும்ல, நிறைய பேர் வந்து maths problems music கேட்டுட்டு solve பண்ணுவாங்க. I've heard my amma tell that she used to solve mathematical problems listening to music. So it is actually a soothing, because maths is a very dry subject, ilya. So once you listen to music you can solve problems. And also there's a connection between music and increased IQ scores. All this is research proved, Anna. And in both cases it is rhythmic music training which has been shown great importance. Also, music and creative skills, there's a direct link, especially musical improvisation and in lessons which the students need to be imaginative. In the poetry classes alla irukku illaya, poems, English, Tamil poetry, adala vandu summa vasikkiradha vida, if it is done in a musical manner, poems and all, it strikes the student in a better manner. Students, they memorize the lines also. So a number of studies have demonstrated the positive impact music can have on the personal and social development. என்னெல்லாம் பாசிட்டிவ் இம்பேக்ட் ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்டோட இதில் வரும் மியூசிக்னால? இன்க்ரீஸ் கான்ஃபிடென்ஸ் வரும், செல்ஃப் எஸ்டீம் இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகும், சென்ஸ் ஆஃப் அச்சீவ்மெண்ட் அண்ட் தி எபிலிட்டி டு கனெக்ட் டு அதர்ஸ். ஸோ வென் அ ஸ்டூடெண்ட் இஸ் சிங்கிங் text or a poem with melody, they are using multiple areas of the brain, so it increases their test scores. அவங்க மெமரைஸ் பண்றதுக்கு அது ரொம்ப ஈஸியா இருக்கும். ஆல்சோ டிஸ்லெக்சிக் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் இல்லையா, அது வந்து physically challenged students, அவங்களுக்கு வந்து மியூசிக் has shown a lot of improvement in their physical problems, like it focuses on the visual, auditory and the fine motor skills, so that அவங்க வந்து அவங்க டிசபிலிட்டிஸ் வந்து ஓவர் கம் பண்ண முடியும். அண்ட் இந்த மாதிரி ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், இந்த மாதிரி டிஸ்லெக்சியாலாம் அஃபெக்ட் பண்ண ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸுக்கு வந்து மியூசிக் ரொம்ப பாசிட்டிவ் இஃபெக்ட் கொடுத்துருக்கு. ஸோ த லேர்னிங் ஆஃப் இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட் ஆல்சோ இஸ் வெரி வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். அது வந்து நம்ம மோட்டர் ஸ்கில்ஸை வந்து இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணும். அப்போ இப்போ நான் முதல்ல சொன்ன மாதிரி டீம் ஒர்க், டிசிப்ளின், கோஆப்ரேஷன் எல்லாம் வந்து நம்மளுக்கு கிடைக்கும் இல்லையா மியூசிக்கல் இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட் வாசிக்கும் போது. அது வந்து ஃபிசிக்கல் எபிலிட்டி இருக்கிற ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டுக்கு ரொம்ப தட் இஸ் இட் டஸ் வண்டர்ஸ். அதுபோல் திஸ் இமோஷனல் வெல்பீயிங் ஆஃப் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், இப்போ சம் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் மைட் ஹேவ் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ், ஆல் ஆஃப் அஸ் ஹேவ் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் அட் ஹோம் இல்லையா, we have problems in our families, maybe because of broken parentage. And the many students go in the emotional well-being can be increased because of music, and they find songs to connect them to the everyday life. Apro social interactions like group playing, jazz, music band and the mari ilukoliya, avarumbodhu students learn to join everyone. Ipo vandu music illada edam irka, is there anything without music? You have music in the street ponalu music, we listen to music from church or the temple or even some cinema advertisement, and in our homes we have music, in the TV plays, mobiles we have music. So even in our classroom, why not music? Okay, so as an integral part of our experiences, music builds our cultural identities, it conveys our emotional experiences and explores our passion. So with this amazing transformative potential, it is no wonder that music is now used by educators all over the world to build positive classroom environments and support young people in their personal and academic development. So I'm not saying that everything is positive in music, but music can sometimes negatively affect the cognitive performance if it is done in a very negative manner. Loud music can be dangerous. So the type of music matters. Students perform better while listening to music which is very calm rather than the aggressive music. Okay, so by considering these elements, teachers can find the responsive ways. Now, நிறைய resources இருக்கு which one can learn to use music effectively in the classroom. For example, some examples include exploring the historical events and periods in which the songs were written. இப்போ பாரதியார் songs இல்ல வந்தே மாதரம் songs were written. Examining the song lyrics, especially to teach poetry, and using music as a tool for remembering mathematical formulas. The John Hopkins School of Education, it provides a detailed overview of suggested methods for integrating music in the classroom, and it is full of suggestions on how to use music in different settings. So music is academic, that means music training wires a young mind for enhanced performance. Music is physical because your whole body activates when there is music, and with music your body stamina also increases. I was not feeling well, but now after singing a couple of songs my stamina is good. Now the third one is music is emotional. Some songs are very emotional, isn't it? And we cannot stop being emotional. And the most important thing is music is for life. Can you play football at the age of 70? Can you dance with all these costumes and all at the age of 80? No, but we can sing, isn't it? Yes. So music is lifelong, and for every performing art music is needed. You cannot have any, as I told you earlier. So music teaches us a way of living, and it is a gift that will last our entire lives. And if I have time, I'll take 5 more minutes. I have 5 to 10 more minutes. I think it's 30 minutes I've taken. So music, I would like to tell you, is a remedy also. Excuse me. So music வந்து remedy. What is remedy? இது வந்து தெரப்பின்னு கேட்டுறீங்களா? மியூசிக் தெரப்பி. ரொம்ப வருஷமா மியூசிக் வந்து it has been used to treat diseases. ஏன்னா வந்து மியூசிக் வந்து நமக்கு we know it is good for our heart, it's good for our posture, it's good for our immune system, and it has been proven very good for children with autism and the மாதிரி. So music relaxes our muscles, and it is actually the therapy. The music therapy is an acknowledged form of art. Like the Balamurali Krishna, the renowned musician, he is a music therapist. He used to be, in fact. And then music has really created wonders for cancer patients, etc. And music affects all the many regions of the brain, and including the cognition, the emotion, movement, sensation, and it has been used to treat a wide range of diseases like depression. இப்போ வந்து இந்த அல்சைமர்ஸ் டிசீஸ் ரொம்ப நம்ம பார்க்குறோம் இல்லையா? அல்சைமர்ஸ், அப்புறம் டிமென்ஷியா, மெமரி வீக் லாஸ், அப்புறம் ஸ்கீசோஃப்ரீனியா, டபுள் பர்சனாலிட்டி, அந்த மாதிரி. இப்போ இந்த ஸ்பீச் டிஸார்டர், இப்போ ஸ்பீச் வந்து இப்போ some might be having this vicar, I don't know the Tamil word for that, stammering, yes. But stammering people, when they sing without any problem. So that is the power of music, and it can create, it can remove, or it is a very good therapy for disorders of speech, coordination, and especially now because cancer cases are increasing. It is really being used for the treatment of terminal cancer patients. And like I told you, patience, discipline and dedication. And then through music education, students can develop their creative identities and experience a sense of self-worth and self-efficacy. And it enables the students to overcome their multiple personality flaws because of the negative factors. நம்ம என்வாயன்மெண்ட்னால வந்து நிறைய நெகட்டிவ் ஃபேக்டர்ஸ் நமக்குள்ள வரும் இல்லையா, அது இல்லாம பண்றதுக்கு music is very important. And what about playing musical instruments? Which are the musical instruments? உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்ச musical instruments என்னெல்லாம் இருக்கு? வீணா இருக்கு, தபலா இருக்கு, என்ன வயலின் இருக்கு, கிட்டார். இது வாசிக்கிற யாராவது இருக்காங்க? வயலின், கிட்டார், தபலா. Violin, ma'am. Oh, wow. That's nice. Very nice. Violin is a very difficult instrument to play because minute apaswaram varum. So that violin is a small instrument. And Amma also used to play a little bit. My grandfather used to play. But you know, these instruments improve our stamina, energy level, and the mind gets relaxed after listening to music. Ma'am, do you know that Albert Einstein used to play on the violin? Yeah, Albert Einstein used to play on the violin. And what about our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam? He used to play on the veena, yes. And the great physicist Stephen Hawking, he used to listen to music for hours. You know, he was immobile. He used to move around in the wheelchair. So, Albert Einstein, APJ Abdul Kalam, just a few examples. Stephen Hawking. So all these people, it's proven that music must have definitely helped them enhance their performance. So to conclude, I would like to say that if music is introduced in the curriculum, it would crucially affect the mental landscape of the stakeholders of higher education by liberating them from the clutches of communal, casteist and gender affiliations and thought process at a very significant level. The classroom itself is a social laboratory, isn't it? Nama class or lab mari thane. Adu nama society oda representation. The classroom is a representation of the society. And the classroom, the classroom where you all belong to, it has diverse elements of thoughts and ideas. And therefore there is immense potential possibility in understanding the impact of an artistic intervention in the academic field. Artistic and aesthetic intervention in the academic field. And as a teacher and a singer, I have experienced the transformative potential of music in many circumstances inside the academia, and that it moves beyond it moves to the boundaries of disciplines effectively, and it causes even unification of knowledge system. Let's take the NEP. The new NEP is all about diversifying the curriculum. Just now we are going to implement it shortly. So music is actually both talent and skill. Talent vano, skill vano, illaya. So we need to develop these two. And there is ample scope for music in the new curriculum. The NEP is introducing 2 courses, MDC, the multidisciplinary course, and the skill enhancement course. So for BA history students, we can introduce the multidisciplinary course, which is multidisciplinary, and for science students we can introduce a skill enhancement course. And maybe for both these students, both history and the science students, we can have the value added course, because music itself is a value. Music is a value, and because why is music a value? Because it crosses all boundaries and it breaks away all the vociferous tendencies. And definitely the new education policy has a great scope for musical education, and music creates a ground for ideological fertility and mental quality that are very different from any other discipline. Matta vishayangal irundhu romba vyathyasam, and it can bring in effective creative intervention in curriculum designing. in the field of higher education. So being a teacher of history in the higher education scenario and being a practitioner of music, I believe that through incorporating the study of music in the higher education curriculum, many of the orthodox beliefs attached to the intellectual world can be eliminated and a critical social scientific perspective can be developed for the emancipation of knowledge systems that are ingrained in narrow petty affiliation. So music can cut away all this and bring unity among students. Music in the classroom is a catalyst. Catalyst na it's a spark that would bring in an ambience of free thinking, fair thinking when transmitted through advanced musical methods. That is, it creates so much of harmony in the classroom and that it has great scope for students and also in the new NEP. So with that few words, I would like to thank Mercy ma'am for having invited me to Lady Doak College. This is my second home. So thank you so much ma'am. We have been in touch for many years. And also Lakshmi Nair, I think she's gone somewhere. She was of great support in the morning. Thank you so much and thank you ma'am for the patient listening. I didn't know that you would be here throughout. Thank you so much for. So that's it. Huh? I would like to listen to ma'am playing the violin. You have any video of that ma'am? Yeah. Do you play the violin for college programs also for the choir and all? Okay. Oh, I would like to sing a small Christian song also. Just change my heart, oh Lord, make it ever new. Change my heart, oh Lord, may I be like you. You are the potter, I am the clay. You are the potter, I am the clay. Melt me and mold me. This is all I pray. Change my heart, oh Lord, make it ever new. Change my heart, oh Lord, may I be like you. May I be like you. May I be like you. Thank you. And I would like to say that this college has molded me into what I am today. And if I've been invited to this college, it's because of Mrs. Abraham and all the faculty and all my friends and peers. Thank you so much.